You don't win an avoidant by chasing. You become unforgettable by becoming unshakable in your self-respect. And I need you to let that land, because so much of your pain has come from believing the opposite. You believe that if you loved harder, if you explained better, if you were patient enough, if you stayed soft enough, they would finally see you and choose you properly. You believed your love could heal their fear. You believed that if you just showed them how safe you were, they would stop running. And you tried. You tried in 100 quiet ways. You tried by forgiving what shouldn't have been repeated. You tried by overthinking your tone. You tried by swallowing your needs so you wouldn't be too much. You tried by waiting through silence like it was a normal part of love. But chasing doesn't make an avoidant choose you, it makes them feel in control. Because in an avoidant dynamic, distance is power. The person who can pull away without shaking becomes the person who controls the emotional temperature. And when you chase, when you reach, when you beg for clarity, when you over-explain, you may think you're fighting for love, but what your nervous system is really doing is trying to regulate anxiety. You're trying to stop the ache. You're trying to restore safety by restoring connection. And the avoidant, even if they care, often experiences your pursuit as pressure, and pressure activates their escape. So the more you chase, the more they retreat, and then you chase harder, and suddenly the relationship becomes a cycle, not a bond. Self-respect breaks that cycle, because self-respect is the moment you stop negotiating your worth. Self-respect is not arrogance. It's not coldness. It's not punishing them. It's not playing hard to get. Self-respect is the quiet decision that says, I will not abandon myself to keep someone close. It's you recognizing that love should not require you to shrink. It's you recognizing that begging for basic effort is not romance, it's survival. It's you recognizing that a relationship that depends on your constant chasing is not stable, it's dependent on your self-erasure. And I know self-respect feels terrifying at first, because self-respect comes with a risk, the risk that you might lose them. The anxious part of you says, if I stop chasing, they will forget me. If I stop explaining, they will think I don't care. If I hold my boundary, they will leave. And that fear is real, because you've been trained by inconsistency. You've been trained to believe that love disappears if you don't keep it alive. But hear this, if someone only stays when you chase, they were already leaving. They were just leaving slowly, in pieces, while you kept trying to hold them together. Becoming unshakable in your self-respect means you stop offering unlimited access to your heart. It means you stop answering every late night ping like it's a reunion. It means you stop treating a breadcrumb like a meal. It means you stop letting someone's mood decide how you feel about yourself. It means you stop chasing closure from someone who refuses to speak. It means you stop explaining your pain to someone who keeps minimizing it. It means you stop reopening doors without repair. And when you do that, your energy changes in a way that is impossible to fake, because you're no longer operating from fear, you're operating from standards. This is why self-respect makes you unforgettable, because it makes you rare. So many people can be beautiful, so many people can be charming, so many people can be exciting, but not everyone can be steady, not everyone can be grounded, not everyone can love deeply and still choose themselves. And that is what self-respect is. It's you being a person who is not for everyone, because you refuse to be treated casually. You refuse to be an option. You refuse to be someone's emotional convenience. You refuse to be the person who absorbs inconsistency and calls it love. And here's the part that will heal you. Self-respect doesn't require them to change for you to feel powerful. Self-respect gives you power right now. It gives you power over your reactions. It gives you power over your availability. It gives you power over your standards. It gives you power over the kind of love you allow into your life. And this power is quiet, but it's solid. It's the kind of power that lets you breathe, the kind that lets you sleep, the kind that lets you wake up and not check your phone like it's a verdict. When you become unshakable in self-respect, you stop trying to win them and you start evaluating them. That's the flip. Instead of asking, how do I get them to choose me? You start asking, are they choosing me in a way that is worthy of my heart? Are they consistent? Are they accountable? Are they emotionally present? Can they communicate in conflict? Can they repair? Or do they disappear? Do they make my life more peaceful or more anxious? Do I feel safe with them? Or do I feel like I'm constantly bracing? And that shift is magnetic, because avoidants are used to being chased. They are used to being pursued. They are used to your emotional labor being available. They are used to being the one who withdraws while you return. When you stop chasing, you remove the comfort of assumed access. You remove the certainty that you'll always be there no matter what. You remove the safety net that allowed them to avoid growth. And that can create pursuit, because pursuit is what happens when someone feels the possibility of loss. But even if it creates pursuit, you don't celebrate the chase, you watch the pattern. You watch whether it turns into consistency, whether it turns into accountability, whether it turns into real change. Because chasing from them is not the goal. Stability is. Self-respect also protects you from your own longing. Because longing can make you rewrite history. Longing can make you forget how lonely you felt while you were with them. Longing can make you miss potential more than reality. But self-respect keeps you honest. It says, I will not go back to a dynamic that made me feel small. I will not trade my peace for temporary closeness. I will not accept a return that ignores the past. I will not silence my pain just to keep someone near. And here is where your heart becomes strong, not hard, strong. You learn to tolerate the discomfort of not chasing. You learn to tolerate the uncertainty without collapsing. You learn to let the silence sit without filling it with pleas. You learn to comfort yourself in the moment you use to run to them. You learn that your worth does not rise and fall with someone's attention. And as you practice that, you start to glow differently. Not because you're trying, but because you're finally aligned with yourself. So no, you don't win an avoidant by chasing. You become unforgettable by becoming unshakable in your self-respect. Unshakable means your boundaries don't disappear when you miss them. Unshakable means your standards don't collapse when they send a sweet message. Unshakable means you don't confuse contact with commitment. Unshakable means you can love someone and still require them to show up like an adult. Unshakable means you would rather be alone than be in a relationship where you are constantly waiting to be treated well. And if they truly choose you, they will feel the weight of that self-respect. They will either rise to meet it or they will walk away. But either way, you win, because you stop losing yourself in the process of trying to be chosen. Avoidants choose the person who feels emotionally safe, not emotionally available at any cost. And if you've been trying to hold on by giving more, by being more patient, by being more understanding, by being endlessly available, this truth can sting at first. Because you think, how can my love not be enough? How can my loyalty not be enough? How can my softness not make them stay? And the answer is, your love may be beautiful, but if it comes wrapped in anxiety, if it comes wrapped in urgency, if it comes wrapped in over-functioning, it can feel heavy to a nervous system that is already terrified of being responsible for closeness. The avoidant doesn't run from love because love is bad. They run because love can feel like a demand, and demand feels like loss of control. Emotional safety is not the same as emotional availability. Emotional availability is you being present, open, willing. Emotional safety is the feeling that closeness will not come with chaos, pressure, or punishment. Emotional safety is the feeling that someone can bring their fears into the room without being destroyed for having them. Emotional safety is the feeling that love is steady, not a roller coaster. And here's the hard part, you can be emotionally available and still not be emotionally safe if your availability is fueled by fear, if your availability turns into chasing, if your availability comes with an unspoken message of, please don't leave me, please don't disappear, please choose me right now. That's why available at any cost becomes the opposite of what you intend. You think you're proving devotion. You think you're proving patience. You think you're proving that you're not like the others, that you'll stay, that you'll understand. But when you stay at any cost, you teach your nervous system to accept scraps, and you teach their nervous system that they don't have to grow. You make it easy for them to take connection without learning how to hold it, and an avoidant pattern will always choose the path of least emotional exposure. If you make it possible for them to have you without accountability, without consistency, without real presence, the pattern will take it. Emotional safety feels different. Emotional safety is calm boundaries. Emotional safety is clarity without drama. Emotional safety is you not spiraling when they take a few hours to respond. Emotional safety is you not punishing, not chasing, not collapsing, but also not disappearing from yourself. Emotional safety is a woman who can say, I care about you, and still say, this doesn't work for me, when the pattern repeats. Emotional safety is someone who doesn't turn the relationship into a constant interrogation, but also doesn't pretend everything is fine when it isn't. Emotional safety is honesty paired with steadiness. And when an avoidant meets emotional safety, something in them can finally soften, because their nervous system has been bracing for engulfment. Many avoidants grew up with a story that closeness equals control, that emotion equals obligation, that being needed equals losing themselves. So when they feel intensity, their body interprets it as danger. They may even feel love, But love becomes mixed with threat. And when love feels like threat, distance becomes the instinct. That's why emotionally safe people are different. Because emotionally safe people don't make closeness feel like a trap. They make closeness feel like a choice. But this is where you must protect yourself, because creating emotional safety does not mean tolerating emotional neglect. It does not mean becoming easy in a way that erases your needs. It does not mean accepting inconsistency so they don't feel pressured. Emotional safety is not you swallowing your pain. Emotional safety is not you being endlessly forgiving. Emotional safety is not you making yourself smaller to fit their comfort zone. Emotional safety is you being steady and clear while still having standards. It's you becoming the kind of person whose love is warm, but whose boundaries are real. So if you want to understand what makes an avoidant choose you, think about how they experience your energy. Do they experience you as someone they can breathe around, or someone they feel they have to manage? Do they experience your love as steady, or as urgent? Do they experience your communication as clear, or as emotionally flooding? Because avoidants often aren't scared of you, they're scared of what they feel when they're close. And emotional safety calms that fear. Emotional safety looks like you not needing constant reassurance to be okay. It looks like you having a full life outside of them. It looks like you being able to regulate your emotions without needing them to fix it in the moment. It looks like you not turning every silence into a crisis, and not turning every conflict into a breakup threat. It looks like you being consistent in your care, and consistent in your boundaries. It looks like you speaking your truth without trying to control their reaction. It looks like you're not begging for commitment, but also not settling for ambiguity. And this is why emotionally safe people are chosen, because they don't make love feel like a battlefield. They make love feel like a home. But a home is not a place where anyone can walk in and out without respect. A home has walls. A home has doors. A home has rules. A home is protected. Emotional safety is not openness with no limits. It is openness with structure. It is warmth with standards. It is softness with spine. Now, I want to say something that might feel like a knife and a hug at the same time. Sometimes you can be emotionally safe, and they still won't choose you, because emotional safety doesn't create capacity where there is none. If they are committed to avoidance, if they are loyal to control, if they refuse accountability, they may still run, even from the safest love. And if that happens, it is not because you failed, it is because you cannot outlove someone's fear. You cannot heal someone who refuses to face themselves. You can only create a healthy environment and see if they can meet you there. So don't become available at any cost to be chosen. Don't sacrifice your nervous system to prove you're safe. Don't turn your life into a waiting room so they feel comfortable, because the real goal is not being chosen over other women. The real goal is being chosen in a way that honors you, a way that is consistent, clear, and committed. And the moment you embody emotional safety, not frantic availability, you stop attracting people who want easy access and start attracting people who are capable of real connection. And if an avoidant chooses you from that place, it will not feel like you won. It will feel like you finally stopped losing yourself. Your boundaries create value, because they prove you won't accept love that disappears. And I know that can feel uncomfortable to hear, because a part of you wants love to be simple. You want to believe that if you are kind, loyal, patient, loving, then that should be enough for someone to stay present, to treat you carefully, to choose you with clarity. You want to believe you shouldn't have to put up walls to be loved. And you're right. In a healthy relationship, you don't need hard walls. But boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are doors. They are the difference between a heart that is open and a heart that is exposed. Without boundaries, your love becomes unlimited access, and unlimited access is what allows disappearing love to keep coming and going without consequence. When someone can vanish, return, vanish again, and still find you waiting, still find you soft, still find you available, the nervous system learns a dangerous lesson, that your presence is guaranteed, that your forgiveness is automatic, that your standards are negotiable. And when standards are negotiable, effort becomes optional. Not because you are not worthy, but because the environment you're allowing makes it easy for someone to do the minimum and still keep you. Boundaries create value because they create structure. They make love real. They make love tangible. They say, if you want closeness with me, it has to come with consistency. If you want access to my body, it has to come with emotional responsibility. If you want a place in my life, it has to come with respect. And that isn't manipulation. That is maturity. That is self-respect in action. That is you finally treating your heart like it is precious. Because let's be honest, disappearing love is one of the most painful experiences in the world. It doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your nervous system. It teaches you to anticipate abandonment. It teaches you to read silence like danger. It teaches you to overthink every word. It turns your mind into a detective and your heart into a battlefield. And if you keep accepting disappearing love, you're not just accepting a relationship pattern, you are training your body to live in anxiety as a normal state. Boundaries are what stop that training. Boundaries are the moment you say, I am not available for a love that makes me lose myself. Now, here is why boundaries create value specifically with avoidant patterns. Avoidant dynamics often revolve around comfort and control. Not always in an evil way, but in a protective way. Distance gives them relief. Withdrawal gives them regulation. Silence gives them control. And when someone has relied on distance to manage closeness, they will test the environment to see what they can get away with. They will test, can I come close without responsibility? Can I disappear without losing you? Can I return without repair? And your boundaries answer those questions, not with speeches, but with behavior. A boundary is not what you say when you're upset. A boundary is what you do when the pattern repeats. That is why boundaries create value, because they show you are not a safe place for inconsistency. They show your love is not a free pass. They show your softness is not permission. They show you can be kind and still require accountability. They show you will not be brought back with a hey after weeks of silence. They show you will not trade your dignity for temporary closeness. And when an avoidant realizes that your presence is not guaranteed, something shifts. Because the old dynamic relied on the belief that you would stay no matter what. But I want to be careful here, because boundaries are not meant to make someone chase you. Boundaries are meant to make you safe. If you set boundaries as a tactic, you will still be trapped, watching, waiting, measuring, hoping. But if you set boundaries as a standard, you become free. And freedom is powerful, because it means your worth is no longer decided by someone else's behavior. Your worth becomes something you honor through the choices you make. Enforcing boundaries is where most people struggle, because it's easy to announce a boundary when you're angry. But it's hard to keep it when you miss them. It's hard to keep it when you get that message and your body floods with relief. It's hard to keep it when they become sweet and nostalgic, and you start remembering the good moments. It's hard to keep it when your anxious side whispers, don't push them away, just accept it, just take what you can get. But here's the truth, if your boundary disappears when you miss them, it was never a boundary, it was a wish. And wishes don't protect you, standards do. A real boundary might look like not restarting intimacy without a conversation. It might look like not responding to a casual ping that ignores the rupture. It might look like saying, I'm open to talking, but I'm not open to pretending nothing happened. It might look like stepping away when someone repeatedly withdraws instead of repairing. And yes, that can feel like you're being hard. But you're not being hard, you're being honest. Because every time you abandon your boundary, you abandon yourself. And you've done that too many times already. Boundaries also create value because they reveal character. When you hold a boundary, you find out who someone is. Someone who respects you will respect it, even if they don't like it. Someone who is capable of love will want to understand it. Someone who is serious will meet you with accountability. But someone who only wanted access will push, guilt, blame, or disappear. And that information is priceless, because it saves you from investing your heart in someone who cannot hold it. This is why boundaries don't just change them, they change you. They rebuild your self-trust. They teach your nervous system, I can protect myself. They teach your heart, I will not accept crumbs to avoid loneliness. They teach your identity, I am someone who requires consistency. And when you become that person, you naturally stop attracting people who want to disappear and reappear. You stop being the place where inconsistency feels welcome. So yes, your boundaries create value, because they prove you won't accept love that disappears. And the most heart-touching part of that is this, you are not doing it to punish anyone, you are doing it because you finally believe you deserve a love that stays. You deserve a love that doesn't run the moment you need clarity. You deserve a love that doesn't punish you with silence. You deserve a love that doesn't make you beg for the basics. You deserve a love that grows through repair, not a love that resets through pretending. And if an avoidant chooses you because your boundaries made them respect you, that choice will only be real if it comes with consistent behavior. But even if they don't choose you, your boundaries still choose you. They choose your peace. They choose your dignity. They choose your healing. And that is the kind of choice that changes your life. Because it means you stop calling disappearing love a relationship and start calling it what it is, a pattern you are no longer available for. When your life becomes full again, and your confidence becomes calm instead of performative, they feel a shift that you don't even have to announce, because energy speaks before words ever do. And I want you to hear this in a way that heals you, not in a way that turns you into someone who tries to win. A full life isn't a tactic, it's a return to your center. It's the moment you stop treating love like a waiting room, and you start living like your happiness is allowed to exist today, with or without anyone choosing you. Because when you've been attached to someone avoidant, your world can quietly shrink. You don't mean to let it happen. It starts as small adjustments. You keep your evenings open. You check your phone more than you should. You hold off on plans because you might get a message. You delay joy because you don't feel fully safe. And the most heartbreaking part is that you begin to ration your own life, as if your life is only real when they're present, as if you need their attention to justify your peace. So when your life becomes full again, it's not just that you're busy, it's that you're no longer orbiting. You start waking up and moving with purpose. You go to the gym. You take care of your body, not to be seen, but because you finally respect yourself enough to nourish your nervous system. You reconnect with friends, not to post stories, but because you remember you deserve laughter that doesn't come with anxiety. You show up for your work, your goals, your routines, your family, your faith, your creativity, and slowly, your energy stops being parked outside someone else's door. And avoidants feel that. They feel it because the old dynamic relied on a silent certainty. The certainty that you would always be there. The certainty that even if they withdrew, you would hold the thread. The certainty that they could pause intimacy and still return to your warmth later. But a full life breaks that certainty. It doesn't threaten them, it simply removes the guarantee. It replaces, I have her, with, I could actually lose her. And the reason that matters psychologically is because many avoidant patterns don't fully process the value of closeness until closeness is no longer available on demand. What changes first is your availability, but not in the way people think. You're not playing games. You're not trying to be hard to reach. You're just not living in anticipation anymore. You respond when it makes sense. You don't drop your day because they finally text. You don't rearrange your life to prove you're chill. Your tone becomes steadier. Your energy becomes cleaner. You stop asking for crumbs like they're a meal. And that calmness can feel unsettling to someone who is used to your nervous system doing the emotional work for both of you. Because when you were waiting, they had leverage without even trying. Distance created control. Silence created power. Your anxiety created proof that you were still emotionally attached. But calm confidence removes that leverage. Calm confidence says, I care, but I will not chase what runs. Calm confidence says, I'm open, but I'm not available for inconsistency. Calm confidence says, I'm not trying to control you, I'm choosing me. And for an avoidant, that is the moment the dynamic stops being comfortable. This is also where your attractiveness becomes deeper than looks, because you stop broadcasting need. You stop seeking reassurance like oxygen. You stop making your mood dependent on their reply. You become self, contained in a way that makes closeness feel safer, because you're not asking them to regulate you. You're asking them to meet you. And meeting you is different. Meeting you requires effort. It requires consistency. It requires them to be emotionally present, not just physically around. Now here's the part I need you to be careful with, because when an avoidant senses they could lose you, they may chase, but chasing is not always maturity. Sometimes chasing is panic. Sometimes it's a fear response. Sometimes it's about restoring access, not building something real. They might show up suddenly with intensity. They might say the right words. They might become affectionate. And your heart, your beautiful heart, will want to melt into that relief and call it change. But relief is a moment, and change is a pattern. Your full life is what protects you here, because it gives you perspective, it keeps you grounded, it reminds you you're not desperate for attention, you're looking for consistency. A full life also makes you less willing to tolerate what used to feel normal. When your world is bigger, you stop romanticizing the bare minimum. You stop calling silence, space, when it felt like punishment. You stop calling inconsistency, complex, when it was simply unreliable. You stop making excuses for someone who disappears instead of repairs. Because your life starts teaching you a new truth. That peace feels better than chasing. That stability feels better than highs and lows. That being chosen clearly feels better than being kept in ambiguity. And that's why, without you saying a word, the avoidant feels the shift, because they can feel that you are no longer anchored to them for your sense of self. They can feel you have support, joy, identity, momentum. They can feel that you would be okay if they didn't return. And that is the first time they truly have to face the real consequence of losing you. Not losing you in a dramatic fight, but losing you in a quiet, steady way. The way someone drifts out of your life because you didn't treat them with care. But listen to me closely. The goal is not to create fear in them. The goal is to create freedom in you. Your full life is not a weapon. It's a homecoming. It's you remembering that your love is not supposed to cost you your life. It's you remembering that you are not here to audition for commitment. It's you remembering that the right person won't need you to disappear to realize your value. The right person will recognize it while you're standing right in front of them, and they will meet it with consistency, not confusion. So build your full life anyway. Build it when they text, and build it when they don't. Build it when you miss them, and build it when you feel strong. Build it because your nervous system deserves stability, your heart deserves dignity, your future deserves momentum. And if they chase because they feel the possibility of losing you, you don't punish them, and you don't surrender to them. You stay steady. You let their actions prove their intentions. You let time reveal their capacity. You let consistency be the price of closeness. You let accountability be the doorway back into your life. You let your standards stay intact, even when your heart feels tender, even when you want to believe, even when you miss the familiar, because the full life you built is not just what makes them feel they could lose you. It's what makes you finally realize you were never meant to lose yourself just to keep someone close.